And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For this evening's version of It's Casual, let's play that theme song. Dope!
With all the stuff, I forgot. I have Brodsky, but I don't have the theme song. Wait, maybe I do.
Okay, I got it.
Let's bring. Wait, where's Jonathan?
It's
Here.
casual.
Rory, see
We
this.
did
Okay,
have it. Didn't
okay.
we?
So
Guys,
here's the thing, y'all.
it's
Let
too
me
late.
explain.
You know, we'll do it at the end. We'll do it.
Let
at
me
the
explain.
End.
Renee forget
Shit.
this thing.
I
Renee
knew there was
forgetting.
something I was missing.
Yeah. Renee
I knew
forgetting the theme is about the 17th misfortune that has happened to us here. So for those of you who are
that kind of night,
yes, very much so.
but yeah, hopefully we'll be able to reschedule
Oh my
Mr.
gosh,
Linden
serious.
for later. We're not quite sure what happened, but we're guessing technical difficulties. There's been a lot of crazy stuff going on the internet today. I don't know if you've been catching up with all the hacking and stuff with Amazon, and this is what I was told this afternoon by somebody who I was on the phone with, and Google and whatnot. But anyway, tonight on this version of It's Casual, this show, we have the author of the Mechcraft trilogy, and we'll talk to him about if it's going to go further or not. We'll ask him about that later. But he's a screenwriter, and his name is Brian Fitzpatrick. Let's go ahead and bring him up.
Waiting. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Hello.
Hey, everyone.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourselves?
Great. This is Jonathan. If we have questions from the audience, he will be sharing those with us. Ask questions from the audience. Renee is our producer, and she's the switcher on the show. She's the glue that holds it. Oh wow, we didn't. That was so fast. We didn't even see you.
I barely exist. I materialize. I dematerialize. I'm very gypsy today. You see
like
this?
a cameo.
Proof of smoke.
She likes to stay in the backgrounds, even though we love to have her on the show whenever we can get her on camera. But she's elusive.
Look away! I'm hideous. Look away.
So I was just talking to Jonathan just before we went on the air that at dinner time tonight, after I wrote my questions for you, I realized, wait a minute, has Brian seen the movie No Time to Die?
I have not.
Okay. You should go out and see that movie as soon as possible, because I think you've got a lawsuit on your hands. I think you can technically take Eon Productions to court.
Oh, we got an issue going on?
There's a lot of nanotech and assassination going on in that movie. So I'm not sure if it's close to Mechcraft. I haven't had a chance to read the books this week, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Well, see the movie.
See, maybe I'll call you guys back in a little bit. I'm going to go watch the movie right now and call my lawyer.
So, and it's wow, it's a departure from the regular James Bond movies. I can tell you that. Okay. In your biography, it said that, well, let's start with, you write science fiction and horror. Am I right?
That's right.
Okay. As do I. I was just telling Kevin earlier that since 19, I've been doing that stuff as well. I've been writing screenplays and books based on science fiction and horror. So again, there was a lot of mirror. That's why I want to get you on the show, is because we have a lot in common.
Very cool.
And I mean that in a bromance kind of way. So it started for you when you accidentally at 7 saw the movie Night of the Living Dead. Am I right?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
I'm hoping it was the original, not the remake.
Oh no, just the original. I'm way old. I'm really old. Yeah, Mom and I had near Halloween watched some marathons of the older Dracula, Frankenstein. Those were not scary. Even at 7 years old, I thought they were cool.
And I was just saying that's how I got started, and those were not that bad.
No, and then Mom dozed off. When I was
5 and 6, I was drawing Frankenstein. I was drawing the Wolfman, Lon Chaney.
Right, like you do. But so yeah, Mom dozed off, and next thing I know, this zombie movie comes on, and I had never seen anything like it. And I wanted to turn it away. I wanted to turn it off, but I couldn't. How could you turn that off? It's so riveting.
Yes, that it is. It is. So that started you on this fascination with horror, and how you were not able to turn away.
After a week of sleepless nights, I got over it and kind of became fascinated with the idea that you could be so scared and be perfectly safe.
There you go. I worked in a haunted house for a couple of years in Orlando here. I'm in Florida. And again, that was basically how they made their money, was people just like to be scared, and they like to laugh about it afterwards, and walk away from it.
It's true.
It's a huge rush.
Interesting phenomenon
So
that I hope to capitalize upon.
There you go. So tell us about what you've written for the screen.
I've written a lot of screenplays that have gone on to place well in contests and get me meetings with agents and studio executives. I have not sold anything yet. But I did get paid this year. I did get my first paid screenwriting gig to co-author a sci-fi TV pilot that is so cool and unique that I was happy to jump on in. And now I've kind of taken ownership of it because I've really done a lot of work into it, and we're trying to sell it now. The script is called Finch and Skull, and it's sort of a Mad Max meets Game of Thrones idea.
Okay.
And we are shopping it around. It's currently at Warner Brothers, so fingers crossed.
Well, and evidently Boba Fett's going to Game of Thrones now. Have you seen the trailer for the new show?
I have, and I am such a fanboy of Star Wars that I cannot wait.
Yeah, and I'm a Boba Fett guy. I love Boba Fett. Got a
of course.
Corner. And it's the new one, the black one.
So good.
But yeah, it looks like they're taking off on Game of Thrones. I mean, he's got Jabba the Hutt's throne now, and everybody's like, "Hey, what are you doing there?" And that's what you got to say to Boba Fett, to make it interesting.
Of course.
What makes you think we're just gonna not kill you? Well, okay then. Let's start the show. Okay, fantastic. I've only had one script made into a really very bad movie. My script was good.
But you got it made.
But it got made. I didn't get paid much. I was telling Kevin this before the show. It's called Deadly Species. I think one of the critics called it Deadly Feces.
Well,
I think I've heard that joke on the show before. But I wish you all the luck in the world on this new show. I hope you get it sold. There's a lot of networks out there that are buying stuff like this. I'm started watching the new Creep show. Great show. A lot of fun.
Oh, how is that?
A lot of fun. I really liked it. They really kind of make it look like the old movies,
Good, because I love that movie.
So, but again, it's like Tales from the Crypt. You get a couple of little stories, with a little twist at the end, just like the comic book. So it's really good.
Nice.
When was the first Mechcraft book published?
I did have it published one time with a hybrid publisher back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
It had started life as a script and placed really well in contests, and I got meetings for it. But I got the same answer from every place I went, that we love it, but there's no existing fan base, there's no existing IP, so we're not going to take a risk. So a buddy of mine said, "Hey, you should just convert it to a novel, publish it, and build a fan base, and then those same studios will come to you." And
that's right. You did that as a screenplay first.
Yes, and after weeks of banging my head against the wall, because that's the last thing I wanted to do, I realized he was absolutely correct, and so I dove back in, converted it, and ended up loving the process.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out in 2018. But then during the pandemic, I wrote the second book and shopped around for a different publisher, and that publisher, Black Rose Writing, not only wanted the second book, but they wanted to republish the first book. So I was all for that. Awesome. And now, as of November 4th, the third book is out.
Great. Awesome. So, tell us about the sequels.
Well, Mechcraft is a form of nanotechnology that is shape-shifting and embedded in the DNA of the host. And so it's a sentient nanotechnology that connects telepathically with its host, and that host can command it to come out of their skin and form any kind of liquid metal looking shape, weapon, tool. Picture the Terminator from Terminator 2 and how it looked, that sort of chrome liquid metal.
Right.
Picture that coming out of someone's skin, and levitating into becoming anything that that person can think of. And so we've got this culture of scientists who have injected themselves and created this Mechcraft, and then they argue over the best use of it, how to best help mankind or, you know, conquer mankind. And that becomes, these scientists become a warring factions. And for 20 years, that war sort of stalemated because everybody knew everybody's power levels and everybody kind of evened out. And then along comes our hero, Jake, at 15. He's the first ever born with the nanotechnology already in his DNA because of both of his parents were Mechcrafters. And now he's like a wild card. No one knows what his powers will be because no one's ever encountered somebody born with it. And of course, their fears are all correct. He does have wondrous powers with this Mechcraft. And so first book is all about getting him to safety and sort of educating him and the audience on what Mechcraft is and what this culture is and what these secret wars are. The sequels kind of dive a lot deeper into the emotions of the characters, the true origins behind the Mechcraft liquid technology. And I would say the second book, called Mechcraft Disruption, is my Empire Strikes Back. That's the only way I can relate to it. It's dark. It leaves the characters in an emotional wreck, and lots of mysteries are exposed. And then the third book is, I would say, Independence Day. I just unleash everything I can possibly do. It becomes less of an intimate, local Los Angeles-based problem, becomes a global catastrophe movie, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I tie it all up nicely, so at the end, it's a satisfying conclusion. I will, of course, in George R.R. Martin tradition, anger a lot of people, but it was really a labor of love, and I was really grateful for the support of my publisher on this.
Okay, I'm going to play producer here and say, but there is room to start more.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, the publisher, the CEO, asked me a couple months ago, is there more coming? And I originally said, no, I'm pretty much done with these. And then next thing I knew, I had outlined 3 more books.
Well, there you go. That's it.
Against my own better judgment, but the ideas kept coming, and I really like the ideas that I'm going to go with.
Well, there you go. Awesome. I've got a note here to say aliens and asteroids.
I like both.
And I guess I should have. It should have been ask him about aliens and asteroids. Okay, we'll move on.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not sure where I got that from, but okay. You've been doing the convention circuits?
I have, until the good old pandemic hit, and then I pretty much took everything virtual. But I love doing panels and having tables at cons, just any way I can interact with readers and potential readers. Even just chatting about sci-fi. I'm not all like, hey, buy my book, but I'm more like, what are you watching now? What are you reading now? Because it's very cool to when you're with your tribe, it's very cool to just talk about geek out on all the cool stuff.
Yeah, I geeked out last night. I was doing some research on Hal Linden for my questions, and I found out he was on an episode of the Supernatural.
No way.
And again, I'm a huge Supernatural fan. I love that show.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying to picture the episode.
Oh, no way. He was on there. So I was going to ask him about that.
Yeah, that's so cool. He sneaks in every now and then.
I think we talked about this already. You're trying to get a green light for movies for Mechcraft?
I am. Originally, I really wanted
the scripts written already, or the first one anyway.
Well, I really wanted this to be a film trilogy, but now I'm really entertaining the idea of taking it streaming. I could see each book being a season of a show, and I just would have so much fun doing that, because I feel like with the series, you can just take your time and get deeper with the characters, and I don't know, even develop new tangents of the story.
Well, and you mentioned Game of Thrones. I mean, the author, that's what he did. He turned it into seasons, and by the time they got to like the 7th or 8th season, he had run out of material, couldn't write it fast enough. And
they were just going
off the rails. Is it okay if we go
man.
This way with it? Is it okay if we go this way? And he's like, is the check cleared? Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream.
A load of money. All right. So tell me about your friend Kevin Snell before we bring him up.
Oh, this is such a great story. Back in late 2019, I get this Facebook message from a guy named Kevin, and he says, "Hey, I'm in this band, Chmcl Straitjacket, and we love your book. And would it be okay if we wrote a song about your book?" And I was like, well, "Of course. How many people get a song about their story except for Lord of the Rings?" And I, of course, jumped at the chance, and I was like, "Please, yes." I'm humbled and honored. Yes, of course. And then we just sort of chatted a lot and got to know each other. And he's the greatest guy. And the whole band is really cool. And they wrote a song about our story's villain. And the song is, in my opinion, amazing. It's got, I mean, just got, it's very, their band is very industrial, but they break the norms of industrial rock. They do a lot of their own stuff and a lot of, oftentimes, a little tongue-in-cheek humor and sarcasm, and they're just awesome. And the song just has so much to it, and I love the killer bass line. I love everything about it.
Well, let's go ahead and bring Kevin up. And
Hey,
that's pretty much how it happened, right?
you know what? I'm glad he remembers, because I was actually today, in preparation for this, I was trying to remember how Brian and I connected, and I was having a real hard time. But I do remember seeing pictures of him with Frankie from My Life with the Thrill Kill Call, and thinking, wow, this guy, I just finished reading his book, and then I stalked him on Facebook, and he likes industrial music, and we're an industrial band. And then I was like, you know what, I've got to approach him and write a song about this character that I enjoyed so much. So
Now, where are you two guys based out of, if you don't mind me asking?
sure. Well, Brian is in California,
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, just south of LA, right by Disneyland.
Right.
Okay.
I was New Jersey, which is where the rest of my band lives. But I recently moved to South Texas. I now live on a ranch about an hour from the Gulf.
Okay. And you were talking to Jonathan earlier, one of my co-hosts. Jonathan, are you still there?
He's nearby, but he's not there. I will put him on as soon as he comes.
He's hanging out with Hal Linden right now.
Yes,
they're
he's
chatting
with
away.
Hal Linden. It's wonderful. It's a Hollywood epic. It's beautiful.
You guys were talking about, you're very close to, I think, where Dennis Tardon, my boss, from Tardon Media here, used to live or still lives.
Yes, Victoria, Texas.
Cool.
There he is. So you're about 30 minutes.
Jonathan, they wanted you to add. They wanted to say something. Oh, he's saying no. He's saying he's not allowed. He's not allowed to be on. But okay, all right. But yes,
but we
Dennis Tardon
requested
from
you.
Victoria. He's actually from Victoria and grew up on the ranch. He's gonna get so mad that I can't remember the name of it. But the big McFadden Ranch. So that's where he's from.
I've heard of it. It's very popular.
Yep, that's where he actually was. His childhood was there. How cool is
Very
that?
cool.
Right?
Very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brian, I know that Night of the Living Dead was an influence, but what are some of your other influences growing up and when starting your writing?
Oh man. Okay, here we go. Basically all 80s Spielberg, George Lucas, David Cronenberg, his whole thing of secret societies in his horror movies are just gold. I just love everything. And of course, John Carpenter, especially The Thing.
Oh yeah.
Big influence. I mean, I love all John Carpenter, but as far as influencing my writing style and what I like to write, The Thing is right up there. And of course, the Alien franchise, mostly Aliens, which I feel changed sci-fi in the modern times altogether. But I tend to like all my sci-fi with an edge of horror to it.
There's very few sequels that outdo the original, but that one is definitely one of them. Aliens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I would say later years, Event Horizon from 1999. That movie just blew my mind. I mean, so horror and so sci-fi. So good.
And I'm going to ask you the same question, Kevin. Who are some of your musical influences earlier on?
Oh, sure. Probably the biggest would be Ministry. Absolutely love Ministry. When I was a teenager, 16, 17, their album "The Mind Is a Terrible Thing to Taste" came out, and it just
So good.
changed my world. And we ended up connecting with Ministry, and their keyboardist is now our producer and a good friend, and he produced the album that the song for Brian's Evil Villain is on. It's the opening track. It's called Tendril and Blade because, as Brian explained, these characters summon the nanotech from their hands or from anywhere, really. And they often make them into tendrils and blades and that type of thing. So it was a very easy song to write. And actually, Brian wrote the second verse. So he has a co-write on the album.
It's the weaker verse, let me tell you.
Is it? I don't know.
Your verse is far better. But I was very
know.
honored that you asked me to participate. I was like, what? Of course.
Well, I mean, you wrote the story. You got to be part of the song.
Is that like the Marvel verse? Weaker verse?
Yeah, but I would say Ministry is the biggest influence, but all of that late 80s, early 90s, Wax Trax, industrial music, Thrill Kill Cult, Nitzareb, all those bands really made a big impact on me. Yeah, KMFDM for sure. Too many to name.
Very cool. Very cool.
We've had the honor to open for quite a few of them. So
cool.
Yeah, looking
it's
at
kind of
the
like
track
later in life, I got to live out my fantasy.
Totally. And
Awesome.
looking when I was first getting to know them, I checked out like the track record and what all the different bands they've played with. It's like a list of all my favorite bands.
Well, there you go. So it's like match made in heaven.
And Chmcl Straitjacket is now on the list of my favorite bands.
I wish there was some way we could play. The track is called Sasha. Is that right?
It's about Sasha, but it's called Tendril and Blade.
Oh, that's right. You just said Tendril and Blades. Because that reminded me of something that I just saw. My daughter is into Japanese anime, and she had me watch a show called Tokyo Ghoul, which has these people who they're called ghouls, and they have these tentacles and stuff that just fly out of them at any time to kill people and stuff. So it's
like you do, whenever you see a tentacle, you should run, especially in Japanese anime.
Yes. So yeah, when she said the tentacles, I was like, wait a minute, what kind of anime are you watching? Don't
You gotta be careful.
Don't be watching that. So again, I wish there was some way we could play that track, or is there anywhere where we might be able to find it in case people want to listen to it?
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. It's on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, every platform.
Okay.
It's out on Cleopatra Records. So yeah, you can find it anywhere you listen to music. The whole key is our band name. We left out the vowels to make it tougher looking. So
Yes,
that's the hard part. You have to know how to find us. It's Chmcl, Chmcl, Straitjacket, STR8JCKT. So as long as you know that, we're everywhere.
I was going to ask you to spell that for our audience.
There you go.
I can even show you on my notes. I've written it down. Ask him to spell it for the audience.
Well,
Kevin's
being humble. Their album, the newest album, Dark Progression, just crossed 338,000 listens.
Awesome. That is so awesome. Oh man.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, plug. Go check it out.
So you guys are living the dream.
Hey, there we go.
What else are you reaching for as far as the dream? Oh, what do we have?
Where's my book?
There it is. I look like a Mechcraft.
I got it. Also, since you showed the book cover, I got to say my digital artist son did all 3 book covers.
Oh, cool.
And he rocked.
He got his son to do the work for him.
There's one.
Probably got a discounted price.
2.
I was reading about an artist yesterday on Facebook who is 10 years old, and he's selling his works for $5,000 to like Sofia Vergara.
What?
He sold out all of his paintings in Miami at a show to like the elite, to like everybody wants to get his paintings now. The kid's like a modern day Picasso.
Is his father a politician?
His stuff is good. I mean, I'm a huge art fan, and again, I saw this stuff and I was like, wow, he's 10.
Wow.
And he's been doing this since he's like 7. Really?
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, great. That's awesome. and we'll be looking forward to more books from Mechcraft in the near future. But of course, we want to get our audience to buy the first 3. Hopefully, they can find them on Amazon, right?
Actually, yeah. And right now, my publisher has put Mechcraft Cataclysm, the new one, on sale for free for the Kindle. And the first book is 99 cents, and the second book is $2.99. So it's like you can get the whole collection for
$2.99,
$4
or $3.99. Yeah, awesome! Wow,
That's better than being on Spotify.
right?
Spotify would get a 0.006 cents per listen.
It's brutal. That's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
So, in the business as you are, dealing with professionals in showbiz, do you have any horror stories? Like real life horror stories.
Oh man.
Any bad instances that you're willing to talk about?
I'm trying to think of ones I can talk about. Yeah, I was at a party and made a complete ass of myself when I was approaching a producer. I wanted to. This is when I was also much younger, and I didn't really know how to present myself. So I just was like to this producer, "Hi, I'm Brian Fitzpatrick," and I just sort of froze. and he was like polite enough to say hello, and then he just saw how I was shattered inside, I guess, and he just moved on, and I was just completely embarrassed.
Oh wow.
And I was like, I will find that producer again now as the jaded, cynical, experienced Brian, and have a different conversation and be able to say what I need to say and put myself out there in a better way.
We learn as we go along. That's for sure.
Yes.
How about you, Kevin? Any horror stories dealing with people? I mean, I was a stand-up comic traveling around the country for decades. So I know what kind of people you have to deal with when you're playing in clubs and stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely the worst part of it all. I love writing and recording, playing live shows. It's a rush when you're on stage and the audience is mouthing the words along with you. It feels great. But yeah, the management of most establishments, suck. They promise you things, they don't deliver. I can't tell
we
you
didn't make much money this week, kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so the deal, obviously. So yeah, that's probably the worst part of being in a band is dealing with the promoters and the live shows, and dragging your gear in, setting it up. They promise you a sound check. Sorry, we're out of time. No sound check. Like, yeah, that's the worst part for sure.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you worked with a lot of people that you really admired and you looked up to, and you got to open for some great bands and stuff. And you told me where you can find your music. Any shows coming up for you, Kevin, in Chmcl Straitjacket?
Well, since I just moved and the rest of the guys are up in New Jersey, we're working all that out. What we're going to try to do is they'll come down here for a week and we'll play Austin and Houston, San Antonio.
Come to California.
And then a few months later, I'll go up to New Jersey for a week and we'll play New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, that type of thing.
I didn't hear California on that list.
California, I'm coming out there for a little pleasure trip. You're going to show me, what is it, Sunset Strip, and what's the places there?
Oh man, so
Viper
much.
Room.
We got Viper Room.
Yes.
We got Roxy. We got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, actually, Cleopatra Records is having a party at the Viper Room next weekend that we're invited to, but I don't think we're going to make it.
I took a picture in front of there the last time I blew through.
Did you? Nice.
I did.
Nice. Yeah, so we'll keep it going. We'll definitely be playing live.
So yeah, I actually went out to California. Last time I went out to California was to go to the Huntington Museum Library and the Norton Simon, which is my cousin is an artist out there. His name's Clifford Bailey. He does really good out there. He told me about the Norton Simon. I'd never even heard of it, and it was a fantastic museum. It was one of the best.
Yeah, that's a great place.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Got to do the Getty Museum sometime too.
I went to the Getty. not that trip, but the trip before. So I photographed them. Nobody goes with me because I'll embarrass them, because I'm just photographing all the paintings with my phone, and it takes about 4 or 5 hours to do a normal museum. and then I've got the collection,
Nice.
So it's a hobby. So I mentioned earlier that I'm a big art fan. So,
Awesome.
and I do my own stuff. What do you like most about LA? How long have you been out there? Have you been there
I
all
was
your life?
born and raised out here.
Born and raised.
And I absolutely love, I would say, almost everything about living out here. Man, I mean, every city has problems. Every region has problems. I love the weather. I love in winter. I like it colder, but I like California winter, which is like 60 degrees outside, which is great. Summer's great because I can be in the air conditioning because I don't like heat. But no, I mean, I'm where I live. I am 30 minutes from the beach, 40 minutes from LA, and 90 minutes from mountains and desert. So I got everything, and it's just awesome location. And plus, there's cool places to go. Like just the venues we named for music alone are fantastic. I just love everything about it. Traffic I don't love.
Yeah, and that's always the downside. But I mean, you're getting back. The traffic's probably getting back to normal now. I mean, the
Completely,
pandemic
it's ridiculous.
It's not the same as it was. Everybody was happy when the pandemic hit over there, because I mean, you could actually see the skies, and that old joke, knock knock, who's there? UCLA when the smog clears.
And I could actually drive freeways at full speed.
Drum riff. So the air was a lot cleaner. There wasn't near as much traffic out. So people were like, wow, this is great, blue skies.
And that's all gone.
No, actually, every time I've been out to LA, it's been blue skies. And hey, you got the Bat Cave out there, so.
We got the Bat Cave, we got the Batmobile, we got
The Rainbow Room.
I've walked
the Rainbow Room. That place has great food.
I just want to sit at where Lemmy sits. That's all.
Dude, I missed him one night by like 15 minutes. I went to the bar where he goes. The Rainbow Room has that bar, and my friends and I went in there, and we're chatting it up, and we're talking. Oh yeah, Lemmy comes here all the time, and the bartender's like, yeah, you just missed him. I'm like, come on.
That's a really, really good documentary. The Lemmy story, and it shows him sitting in the Rainbow Room, and constantly playing this little poker video game.
Yeah,
excellent documentary.
And that game, that little video poker, is still there.
I believe it.
Too funny. And what about Texas? I mean, how long have you been out there?
6 months now.
6 months.
Yes,
you've got a ranch.
We do, and this is where my wife is originally from, so her family's here.
Okay.
I lived in New Jersey my entire life, and I'm done with the winters. I hate the winters. I hate the snow. And I always liked it down here. We've been coming down here for like 10 years for, a week or two here and there.
See, now I'm flying up to Boston tomorrow with my daughter, and I'm hoping it's going to be snowing because I want my daughter to see snow. She grew up in China, in Shenzhen, so she never seen snow. I'm a Florida.
Oh, well, that would be great for her. That would be awesome.
It's great to visit
Florida, so I've only seen snow a couple of times.
So I hope you guys get lots of it and enjoy it. And, as a kid, I liked it. As I got older, I hated it. And it was time. We planned on retiring down here, but then we both got very sick with COVID when that broke. And we just reassessed our lives. And we said, you know what? We're not going to wait for retirement. Now's the time to go.
So now by ranch, you don't have like livestock or anything, right? It's just a nice spread, right?
No, there's about 150 cattle, 5 goats. No, it's a real ranch.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's like Yellowstone.
So how are you liking that?
It's a conflict of interest because I'm a vegetarian and I'm an animal rights activist. So moving here was actually extremely difficult in the beginning, but I understand that for a lot of people in this area, it's a way of life, and it's a meat culture here, and it's a challenge. I have internal conflict constantly because I'm a pharmacist. So I vaccinate the cattle. I do the health care. So I'm trying to help them, but I know eventually they're going to be driven away, and that disturbs me. But
Top of the food chain. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's interesting.
Wow. That is an interesting story.
Yeah, it'll show up in
I
our next
was gonna
album.
say the cows are yours. You're like saving them from.
No,
so
no,
that
the
they don't
cows
McDonald's?
are not ours. That we moved on to my wife's parents' land.
Uh-huh.
They have tons of land, and they said you're going to inherit it anyway. Why don't you come down? Put up a house, and but of course I help out, and
Well, there you go.
I work as a pharmacist at the hospital in town. But when I'm here, I do help because I'm that kind of guy. But it's disturbing at times.
Yeah, I bet.
That sounds like a story in itself.
Yeah, that's the next album.
So, tell us about some of the characters in Mechcraft. Again, we mentioned Sasha, who's the villain, right?
Yeah, Sasha is the villain who believes she's the hero. She, in the first parts of the story, she believes that, even though she is a Mechcrafter, she has come to realize that it's pure evil and abomination, and all Mechcrafters must die in order for the world to be a better place. So she's got her entire cult hunting down Mechcrafters and then eventually killing themselves. That's the whole part of the plan. And so when Jake comes along, she sees him as the tool to win the war, to finally turn the tide in her favor. So she's a lot of fun to write. I just love writing her. Then I've got the main character, Jake
Villains are
London, is sort of
They
the
are fun.
everyman. He's just innocent. He's led a pretty sheltered, privileged life. Never really had a lot of hardships. And then, bam! And one day he realizes he's got this power that comes out of him violently the first time, and he's terrified of it. And he believes his parents are killed on the same day as he's whisked off by these other agents to try and get him to safety. So he has some stuff to deal with.
And 15.
One of the other characters is Bex, and she's a year older than Jake, but she's been in Mechcraft for most of her teenage life, and so she's kind of a respected agent, if you will, of this organization. And she ends up being Jake's love interest, but that's not all she is. She's got her own adventures, her own issues, PTSD, a lot of stuff, and even dealings with grappling with revenge complexes. And she's a lot of fun too. And then the smart ass, the Han Solo of the team is Trent, who is a couple years older than both of them, and he just has always he's got a line for everything. He's got a snide remark for everything, but he's a lovable scoundrel like Han Solo.
There's got to be a Han Solo.
Every story should have a Han Solo.
Got to have a Han Solo. So your guys' relationship started with a song, and you're good friends now. He's trying to get you out to LA. You're closer.
Yes.
So you should go out.
I'll take you to vegan restaurants.
All right.
He'll take
I'll get out there.
where all
I'll
the
get out
vegan
there,
restaurants
sure.
are. You can go play video poker.
Yes. I look forward to that.
I actually had one of the best nights I ever had gambling was playing video poker. I was in Tunica, Mississippi doing a gig at Bally's, which is in a big grain silo. And I took my money that I earned from doing the comedy, which was like $700 or $800, and I blew like half of it on the slot machines. And I was like, oh man! And I hadn't intended to do that. And I went to the video poker games, and luckily, in 2 hours, I hit two four of a kinds, two four of a kinds, and so
Nice.
It was up like $1,200, and it was. Yeah, I looked out the front door and the sun had come up. I had played all night long, but it was I walked out with a bonus, so
it worked out.
And I thought I was going to lose it all. So yeah, it worked out.
Those stories are few and far between, and I love them.
And the sad part was we were selling out our crowds, and across the street they had George Carlin, and
Wow.
they said that Carlin shows. The houses were about a fourth You know, they were only selling about a fourth of the tickets.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, that's crazy. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's unbelievable.
but you know, people, you just, you don't know what they're going to go for. I mean, I grew up listening to Carlin. He was an influence of mine, so I just loved everything that he did, from beginning to, grumpy old man days. And they say he's everybody I've talked to says he's the sweetest guy in the world.
Yeah.
He talk to you and, spend time with you. And, but there it is. So we had Bowser from Sha-Na-Na doing show. So, yeah, I've burned up all my questions for you guys. Did I ask you what's coming up in the near future with you both? Anything we should look for?
I would say look for, fingers crossed, look for Finch and Skull as a
Finch and
TV
Skull.
sci-fi show. Hopefully 2023, given the way the timelines work.
Okay.
And also new Mechcraft stories coming in maybe at the end of 2022 if I get myself in gear.
I'm publishers waiting for book 2 of a series that I'm writing right now called The Bachelor's Guide to Post-Apocalyptic Success.
Great name.
Thank you. And
Excellent.
he's waiting for me to finish post-apocalyptic dating right now. So
Nice.
my muse just left me a couple of months ago, and I'm just like, come back, please come back.
I hate when that happens.
It will.
Yeah,
It will.
It will.
I
That's
know.
the
You
way
at
it
least
works.
expect it.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And again, I hope, Kevin, you get with your band again real soon, a Chmcl Straitjacket, and play some gigs, and let us know, let us link to your shows,
Absolutely.
so we can let our audience know where you're playing at.
And they
Yes,
are great
absolutely.
live. They're great live.
Yeah.
And I do have a side project called Handsome Abominations.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And that's not live. That is a studio project.
Okay.
It's me and my friend Tufty from Ireland, and Ian, the drummer from Chmcl Straitjacket, my wife Misha, and it's just pure digital sleaze. But it's great stuff too. It's really good. So.
And it is sleazy in all the best ways.
Okay.
But other than that, we have 6 new demos for the next Chmcl Straitjacket. So we're
Great.
carrying on.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Have you ever worked in Atlanta at all?
Me?
Kevin, yes.
No, I have not.
Okay. We have a lot of viewers that are around the Atlanta area.
Oh, good.
Stuff. So yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe you'll get an invite. Maybe somebody will connect
All right,
to you on
sounds
Facebook,
good.
and you'll get an invite to
That's
bring
cool.
Straitjacket out there.
Yeah, look us up on the YouTube. We've got lots of videos.
Very good. Brian, any YouTube videos we should be looking for?
You can find, I've got book trailers for all 3 books, as well as a couple other little goodies. But I plan on actually expanding my YouTube with maybe some author videos, just talking about the process, and maybe just being an open book about, the struggles and the triumphs, and any little thing that lets people in on what it's like to write screenplays and write books. Because I get a lot of questions a lot that I'm happy to answer, but I thought, it'd be kind of cool to have this little sort of video diary going on. So maybe in 2022, I'm going to start doing that and posting them on YouTube.
Well, and I'm curious as to your process for screenwriting. Yeah.
Yeah, there's ups and downs, of course. But yeah, I think writers have very similar. Once you park your butt in the chair, there's a lot of similarness that we all have. I think similarities.
And I guess I should ask Kevin also. Do you write a lot of the songs for Chmcl Straitjacket? Or
Yeah, I'm the primary songwriter.
You're the Lennon McCartney of that group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So, and what's your process?
My process is I don't force myself to work on something until all of a sudden I feel, I've got an idea. I've got a baseline in my head. There's a topic that I want to write about. And then it's unstoppable until I get that demo done. And then I might not write another one for a month or 2 months or whatever. Sometimes I'll write 2 in a week, but it just hits you and you can't really control it. So I never get upset if I don't have an idea, because I know the next one's just going to hit me from out of nowhere. I mean, sometimes it's usually when I'm either riding my motorcycle or mowing the lawn, and I have to like stop, either pull over or stop the lawnmower and just start writing and get on the keyboard.
So the trick is to have a loud motor running.
It actually is, because I think that, and you're not thinking, you're just pushing a lawnmower, you're riding a motorcycle, you're just kind of in this peaceful zone. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'll get like ding, 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 ding. I'll get a bass line in my head and I'm like, oh, that's it. That's the beginning of the next song. That's how it happens for me.
That's very cool.
That's
Me, I have to outline.
Yeah.
I have to outline the hell out of everything. Like seriously outline, and allow for flexibility as I write. But to begin, I have to have a full outline, or else I will get myself lost so fast.
Writing outside of Mechcraft. I mean, I know that's a wonderful universe that you've created, but do you have any other ideas that you're going to share with us? As far as
yeah, actually, I'm currently writing a zombie apocalypse script with my son as co-writer. I always wanted to write a zombie story, but I swore I'd never do one until I had an idea that was different. Because I love the zombie genre, but there's so much of the same. I know I love it. I'll watch it all day long. But I wanted to write something different, and over beers one night, my son and I came up with this idea that I had never seen or heard of before, and so we're writing it now.
Great.
And then after that, I've got a 90s era vampire comedy coming out. I'm going to write, called Every Day is Halloween.
Cool.
After the Ministry song.
I was just going to say, that's a Ministry track. That's awesome.
I've got a book out called The Vampire Irregulars. You can look it up on Amazon. And it's got a lot of dark comedy in it.
Awesome.
It's about a bunch of people who never should have been made into vampires, but it's their stories. It's vignettes, I'm sorry, of their becoming vampires and then banding together, because they're not the pretty vampires. They're the smart, but they're the smart ones.
That's really clever. That's a really cool idea.
They banded together to protect themselves against the other vampires. So yeah. So
that's
cool.
A cool idea.
Very cool. Well, thanks guys for coming on tonight. This has been an interesting night for us. Again, with all the tech issues and stuff, but we have had a wonderful time talking to you two. Good luck to you out in Texas. Good luck to you out in LA. This is what we do in China. We put the right hand over the left, and I know it looks backwards on the phone there, but that means good luck to what you do, basically.
Thank you so much for having us.
And it's been great talking to you. And again, we'll have to get you on to tell us what's happening later on down the line with Mechcraft and everything else. It's Chmcl Straitjacket. Okay.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Do we have any video, Renee, to show for tonight's show? Did we get any videos from any fans or anything?
Oh, yes, we did. It's a little suspicious, but if you want me to play it, if you feel
suspicious.
It's from another part of the world, and it's from someone who has, been on the show before. He's a bit of a character. He's a bit of a character.
If he's been on the show before, that shouldn't be suspicious, right?
Well, let me just play it. I'll just do it. Let's just do it. Let's be crazy, okay? We're gonna.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it.
To its casual people, I am Yuri Grotsky. I escaped Siberia and Russia, and I made my way into America. So now I am on the west coast of America, very, very happy. Much warmer here than it was in Siberia. And I hope that you will get Urina to give you her phone number to you so she can give to me, and we will get together and have dinner together maybe. So I like very much, and I hope that you can help me. So thank you very much, and thank you.
I don't think he's
Yuri Grotsky.
Not suspicious at all.
He's a diplomat. Okay, he's the finance minister.
He's been on the show before,
right? And he's a friend of Putin, Vladimir Putin.
It used to be,
but used to be. But he's kind of obsessed with this Muscovite named Irina, and he's like I feel like Rory now he's just using the network to stalk her. Like I feel like
Okay.
legitimately that's all.
So that's what you mean by suspicious.
Like you do.
Well, we'll have to reach out to Irina, show her the video, and see what she has to say about
I
it.
feel like Irina is going to spout things in 3 different languages about how she feels about that. She is not impressed with Grodzki at all. I think she calls him the Jabba, which means toad. So we'll see what.
Well, he's on the West Coast now of America. He was a deputy finance minister for Christ's sake.
Deputy finance. That's right.
Yeah. So, wow.
I'll get it. I'll reach out.
But hey,
to
didn't we
Irina.
get a guy contact us from the police saying if we hear from him, we should contact them?
That's what I was going to say, but I'm not going to say that on air. I will contact the authorities, and I will also reach out to Irina if she wants to record kind of like a, I feel like she has something to say about it. So.
Okay. Well, again, we'll have to share this video with those people and maybe get them on next week's show and find out what they think about it. All right, guys, that's our show. Thank you again for coming on.
Thanks so much for having us.
And
Thank you.
It was great.
Night.
A lot of fun.
Thank you.
And let's roll those end credits. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Jonathan.
Rory, you will not fucking believe this.
Oh my God.
I mean, seriously, let's just look. Let's just don't say a word. Okay. Don't report me. Don't report me to anyone. It's been a long day. It's all right.
This show will go down in history.
The entire night, us waiting in the wings for about an hour. It's a whole thing, y'all.
We're just a regular podcast now.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Good night, everybody.
Subscribe to our
Take
YouTube.
care.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.